Be looking at suicide in relation to mental health. Welcome and walk with us through this podcast today. We have an issue about suicide, and it has been increasing in the recent days. And there's a recent statistic from Standard that showed that in 100,000 people, at least 11 suicide deaths were reported. And you see, if it's 11 out of 100,000, that's like 4 deaths in a day. And unfortunately, it's not all these deaths that are reported. Some deaths are not even reported to avoid stigmatization to families. So the numbers might even be higher. And we've seen that a lot of people, what is the age group of people that are being affected by these suicide attempts or suicide deaths? Number one, the highest number of suicide deaths are reported among the youths. A lot of youths between the age of 15 and 29 are victims of suicide deaths. Another group is men. Men have been seen to be highly affected by suicide deaths than women. And would like to see, why is it that the youths and the men are more affected? As much as the women are affected, as much as there are women who are being suicidal, women are dying out of suicide deaths, we've seen that the youths and the men are more affected. So we want to see the factors that are leading to youth and men being suicidal. And the first case, when we look at the youths mostly, we have cases of unemployment. Like in our country, Kenya, right now, we're having a lot of unemployment rates. Many youths are unemployed. People are graduating, but there are no jobs. So people are going for menial jobs out here, and they're not being satisfied by these jobs. Their financial aspect is not being satisfied. So we will see these people start getting depressed. They start getting anxiety issues. And once this is prolonged, they start having suicidal thoughts. So unemployment is the most reason that is leading people to committing suicide, because it will lead them to being depressed, and the prolonged depression will lead to suicidal thoughts and attempts. Secondly, we have relationship issues. You see, the age of 15 to 29, a lot of people are getting themselves into relationships. So if these relationships fail, you see a lot of people they separate in relationships, they are rejected in relationships, and this rejection in relationship makes people start think that they are not worth living. So they start getting depressed, and once they get depressed, some get into drugs, and even if they don't get into drugs, that prolonged depression will lead to suicidal attempts and suicidal thoughts. So relationship issues also contributes to suicidal deaths in Kenya. We also have another thing. We have societal expectation. The society expects ABCD from the youth. You see, in our society, there are things that the society expects from you. You go to school, you finish high school. After high school, you go to college or university. After that, you get employed. After that, you get married. If it's a woman, sometimes even in the middle of university or college, they expect you to start getting married. And after the marriage, immediately they start expecting children. So if you fail in any of this, or you break the protocol according to the society, you see, you start seeing yourself as a failure, because other people will start rating you also as a failure. The expectation of parents, the expectation of the society at large is that you become successful, and the success has been rated in such things: education, marriage, children. You see, the society, that is what the society views as success. But they're forgetting that this pressure that they're putting on people, and once the people fail in any of these steps that they've set, the people start feeling depressed, because they see that they are unworthy, because they see that the society views them as failures. So if the society you feel that the society views you as a failure, you start seeing yourself, really, you are a failure. And once you see yourself as a failure, you'll even lose focus, and you'll lose the strength and the zeal, the reason to live. So you'll find yourself having those suicidal thoughts. So societal expectations on the youth is also another reason that is causing people to having suicidal thoughts. Also, we have a criminalization of suicidal attempts. You see, someone can be depressed and they attempt suicide, but it fails. So if this suicide fails and maybe the person get harm, like they hurt themselves, they hurt themselves and they are taken to the hospital. You see, some cases in hospitals can't be treated unless the police are involved. And once the police are involved, these people will be charged of attempted suicide. So if this suicidal attempt is criminalized, a lot of people will not report these cases. You see, if you report these cases, people will be helped. For example, in a family structure, maybe a child has attempted suicide. The parents will fear reporting it or seeking help for them because they feel like the police will criminalize this suicide attempt. And once they criminalize it, instead of this person being helped, they will sink into depression more because they will start having cases in the police stations and in courts and everything. And this will even make them have more suicidal thoughts, and they will think of doing something that will eventually make them die because the attempt failed. And they are going through this because of the suicidal attempts. So the next step, if they get into something, they get another idea, they'll make sure this thing works and they die. So the fact that the suicide attempts has been criminalized in Kenya, it is making people not report cases, making people not to seek help. Because once you seek help, the police can come in and it can turn into something else. So let's look at what makes men more vulnerable to suicide deaths. You see, men are not talkative in nature. So once they get depressed, once they have issues either at work, maybe they are depressed because of relationships, they are depressed because of societal expectations, anything that depresses them. You see, men don't talk a lot. And if they don't talk a lot, they'll pile those issues that are disturbing them. They'll pile those problems. And once they pile them without getting them out, the problems become too much. And once they decide to unleash what has been eating them up, you see, you find these people, they start having suicidal thoughts. And they start attempting suicide in several cases. And sometimes the suicidal attempts can lead to suicidal deaths. You know, some attempts can just be not attempt. The people can be successful. If you become successful, you just die. So the problem that is making men more vulnerable is the fact that they can't talk. And why can they talk? Men in the society, men have been groomed to be strong. Men have been groomed to persevere with whatever challenges that come in life. Men have been groomed that men should not cry. So they grow up knowing that men should not cry. Even if the pain becomes too much for you, you find that men don't cry. I've seen in burials where you find a man is so emotional, but they can't cry because the society has made them believe that men are not supposed to cry. So such things are making these men being victims of suicidal attempts. So if the society can reduce the expectation they have on men and the youth, I think we can reduce these suicidal deaths. Because if you allow a man to express themselves freely without being judged, freely without being stigmatized, it will help this person seek help. They will seek help once they start getting depression. It will not go beyond help. They'll start speaking out, and you know, a problem shared is half solved. So if these men start seeking help, at least the burden will reduce. As much as it will not end, it will reduce. And once it reduces, they will be helped and they'll not have those suicidal thoughts. So we should start encouraging the boy child from a young age, that as much as we want you to be strong, it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to feel depressed. So once you feel depressed, as a man, you can seek help. As a man, you can do A, B, C, D, so that you can help them get out of that depression. But if we continue making men feel like they are not supposed to feel depressed, They're not supposed to undergo any sort of pain. We'll continue having cases of suicidal deaths, cases of suicidal attempts. So it's upon us as the society, as the community, to help these youth and to help these men to get out of the depression and not lead them to start committing suicide. So we should encourage these men that in their lives there is another option of expressing yourself. There's a significant option of not dying. You can still live if this and this happens. You see, men, even one, maybe they have a failed marriage, a failed relationship. A lot of people think that mostly it's the cause of men. They think marriage failed because men cheat. They think the relationships fail because a man has done this and this. A man is not up to their responsibility. But it's not always the case. There are several reasons that are leading to failed marriages, to failed relationships. It's not always about the men. So let's stop victimizing these men and youths. Let's start hearing them out. Let's be keen to listen to them. Always learn to listen more than talking. Because if you learn to listen, you'll find the hidden reason that is leading to this person being depressed. The hidden reason that is leading to this person being having these anxiety issues. And if we do that, we'll reduce these suicidal thoughts and the suicidal attempts. Also, we saw that in 2025 there was a High Court ruling declaring that criminalization of suicidal attempts is unconstitutional, and this will at least assist in people seeking help, because if the people continue advocating for people seeking help and attempted suicide is not criminalized, people will start seeking help. People will start reporting these attempts, and once they start reporting them, the victims can be helped. You see, because people will not be fearing that if I seek help for my child or for my sister or for my brother, they'll start being treated as criminals. So if whatever the court ruling was done and the people start following it and it's implemented, let's say if it's implemented, at least a lot of people will be free to seek help. And once they seek help, the suicidal attempts and the suicidal thoughts will reduce in people. So, what are the common triggers that are leading to suicidal attempts and suicidal deaths? We've seen economic strain. People are straining too much. We've seen a lot of people even can't afford 3 square meals. A lot of people can't afford the basic needs. People don't have where to live. People are living out there in the streets. People are squatters. They're moving in with friends. People can't fend for themselves. People can't fend for their families. And these are the things that are depressing people and making them start having these suicidal thoughts. So, economic strain is among the reasons that are leading to suicidal thoughts. Also, we have untreated mental illness. Untreated mental illness is causing people to start having suicidal thoughts. And why are people having these untreated mental illnesses? Because of victimization, because of stigmatization. People have not embraced those victims of mental health. Instead, they start judging them. Instead, they avoid them. Instead, they just decide to discriminate them. They don't want to get associated with people with mental health. And if they continue doing that, people with mental health will avoid coming out in public. They will avoid seeking help. They will avoid speaking out, even to friends and families, because they know if they speak out, they will be discriminated, they will be stigmatized, and no one will listen to them. So if we have a lot of untreated mental illnesses, it will lead to suicidal attempts and suicidal thoughts. Also, we have substance abuse. A lot of people are abusing substances, and these substances, once you abuse them regularly and it becomes part of you, people will start hallucinating. And once you start hallucinating and seeing things that are not there, and you'll start becoming depressed, and this will lead you to become suicidal at some point. So substance abuse is also a reason that is making people to start having suicidal thoughts. So what's the way forward? How do we reduce suicidal attempts? How do we reduce suicidal deaths? To anyone who is depressed, to anyone who has mental issues, don't fear. Don't fear being discriminated. Don't fear being stigmatized. Don't fear being victimized. Seek help. Healing is a journey, and it starts with you identifying that I have a problem. So once you identify that you have a problem, the second thing, seek help. Seek help from professionals. You might not speak out to your family. You might not speak out to your spouse. You might not speak out to your sibling. You might not speak out to your parents, but you can seek help. In churches, we have people who can help. In hospitals, we have people who can help. Even in administration areas, we have people who can help. If you go to the chief and you tell them, I have this and this issue, I need help, they can reach out to people who can help you. So don't fear speaking out. If you feel that you are not okay, the first step, please seek help. By seeking help, you'll not have those suicidal thoughts. And if you have those suicidal thoughts, please avoid staying alone. Don't be in areas that you are secluded. You are alone always. Try and interact with people, and those suicidal thoughts will start going away. Interact with people. Do things that make you happy. Do things that make you lively. Do things that bring life in you. Because by doing that, those thoughts will start disappearing. You'll start finding meaning in life. So if you find meaning in life, it will help you reduce those suicidal thoughts. Also, as a society, let's reduce the expectation we have on people. Whatever expectation we have in people is making them depressed, is making them have suicidal thoughts. So as a society, let people live life. Let people live life as it goes. Let's live each day at a time. Encourage people to live one day at a time. And if people live one day at a time, it will also help them find meaning in life. Because at least you'll know, if you fail today, there is tomorrow. I can try tomorrow. If this relationship fails, once I heal, I can try another one. If I don't have a job today, I can go and hustle. I can go to and do mjengo. You see, mjengo work. So the problem is these high expectations from people. You were educated by your parents. They expect you by after like 5 years, you'll be helping them. But it's not always like that. There is no employment that is waiting for you to graduate. People graduate and they stay even for 20 years without jobs. They can even stay a lifetime without a job. And they survive on businesses and hustling in these menial jobs. So let's reduce this expectation. Also, my plea to the government, please create employment. People are suffering out here. Create employment for the youth. At least let them have something for themselves. Let them have something that will help them fend for themselves and help them earn a living. Because people are depressed because of what they are going through in life. They don't afford basic needs. They don't afford 3 square meals. People are going hungry. People are suffering out here. So the government should come in and help these people. And once we do that, these suicidal thoughts will reduce. And once we reduce the suicidal thoughts, people will, the depression will reduce and people will live happily. So if we do that, by doing that, we will have a happy nation. We'll have a healthy nation that will help improve our economy. The financial status of people will increase. So if you have an addition or a thought concerning what we've discussed today, please reach out to our social media handles and leave your comments there, leave your question there, and we'll address them. Until tomorrow, thank you for staying with us. I've been your host, Fiona Mogita. Have a blessed day.